Hello everyone, how are you children? I hope you are all fine. Let me introduce myself. I am P.Hepsiba working as a English CRT in Kgbv vemula. Today we discuss about the dear departed one, the continued part. So last session we have listened to wit and humor theme and the dear departed drama. And we know the characters in this lesson. Who is the characters? Mrs. Amelia Slaughter, Mrs. Elizabeth Jordan, both are sisters. And next, Henry Slaughter, Ben Jordan, husbands of Amelia and Elizabeth. Victoria Slaughter, a girl of 10, Amelia's daughter. Abel Merriweather, father of Amelia and Elizabeth. What is understand the part 1, the half part before we listen? Abel Merriweather has two daughters, Amelia and Elizabeth. Amelia's husband is Henry, that of Elizabeth is Ben. This latter think that Abel Merriweather has died. They send a telegram to the Jordans. Mrs. Slater has an eye on the bureau of her father. So in the meanwhile she bring the bureau and the wall clock down before the arrival of Mrs. Jordan and Mrs. Elizabeth Jordan and Miss Jordan, Ben Jordan. So in this continue the story. So discuss about the continuation of the Dear Departed part 1. So Amelia, and so he is gone at last. Amelia, and so he has gone at last, Mrs. Jordan says. Mrs. Slater says, yes, he has gone. He was 72 fortnight last Sunday. She nips back at here. Ben, now Amelia, you mustn't give way. We have all got to die sometime or other. And Mrs. Jordan, and now perhaps you will tell us all about it. So Mrs. Slater says, explain that what happening before the this morning. Father had been merry this morning. He went out room after breakfast to pay his insurance. So Mrs. Slater says to his sisters, Elizabeth Jordan, father had been merry this morning. He went out soon after breakfast to pay his insurance. Ben said, my word, it's a good thing he did. My word, it's a good thing he did. Says Jordan, he always was thoughtful in that way. He was too honorable to have gone without paying his premium. Says Jordan says, he always was thoughtful in that way. He was too honorable to have gone without paying his premium. సో వాళ్ళ తండ్రి గారు ఈరోజు మార్నింగ్ బాగానే ఉన్నారు. ఆ తర్వాత బ్రేక్ఫాస్ట్ తర్వాత ఇన్సూరెన్స్ అండ్ ప్రీమియం అమౌంట్ పే చేయడానికి బయటకు వెళ్ళారు అని చెప్పేసి మిసెస్ స్లాటరు ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చెప్తా ఉందన్నమాట. హెన్రీ సేస్, అండ్ వెన్ ఐ కేమ్ ఇన్, మై వర్డ్, ఇట్స్ గుడ్ థింగ్ దట్ హీ హ్యాడ్. He always thoughtful in that way. He was too honorable to give gone without paying his premium. Henry, and when I came in, I found him underaged and sure enough and sunk in bed. Mrs. Slater says, and when we have finished dinner, we would finish dinner, I thought I had taken up a bit of something on a tray. He was laying there for all the world as if he was asleep. So I put the tray down onto the bureau, correcting herself on the chest of drawers, and went to waken him. He was quite cold. Mrs. Latter says that, and when we will finish dinner, I thought I had taken up a bit of something on a tray. He was lying there for all the world of as if he was asleep. So I put the tray down on the bureau, correcting herself on the chest of drawers, and went to waken him. He was quite cold. A pause. They wiped their eyes and sniffed back tears. Mrs. Latter, rising briskly at length in the business-like tone, well, will you go up and look at him now, or shall we have tea? Here is the, she asked her sister, will you go up and look at him now, or shall we have tea? ఇప్పుడే వెళ్ళి ఫాదర్ని చూస్తారా లేదంటే టీ తాగుదారా అని చెప్పేసి షీ ఆస్క్డ్. And Mrs. Jordan asked her husband, what do you say, Ben? Ben replies, I'm not particular. Mrs. Jordan says, surveying the table, well then, if the kettle's ready, we may as well have tea first. చూసారా అండి, ఇక్కడ తండ్రి చనిపోయాడని తెలిసి వెళ్ళి తండ్రి దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళి తండ్రిని చూద్దామనేటువంటి ఆలోచన లేదు, కానీ వీళ్ళకి ఫస్ట్ ఇక్కడికి రావడం, టీ చూడడం, అంటే వీళ్ళ యొక్క దృష్టి అంతా కూడా ఫాదర్స్ బిలాంగ్స్, ఏదైతే తనకు సంబంధించిన ఫాదర్కి సంబంధించినటువంటి షేర్ ఆఫ్ ప్రాపర్టీ ఆర్ మనీ ఆర్ వాల్యుబుల్ థింగ్స్ ఏదైతే ఉన్నాయో వాటి మీదనే వీరి యొక్క దృష్టి అంతా ఉందన్నమాట. నౌడేస్ సమ్ పర్సన్స్ ఇన్ దీస్ టైప్ ఆఫ్ పర్సన్స్ ఆర్ దేర్ మోర్ దెన్ రిలేషన్షిప్, అంటే రిలేషన్స్ కంటే హ్యూమన్ రిలేషన్స్ కంటే ఎక్కువగా దే వాల్యూడ్ మనీ, ప్రాపర్టీ ఆర్ వాల్యుబుల్ థింగ్స్, ఎక్కువగా వాటి మీదనే ఇంపార్టెంట్ వాల్యూ ఇస్తున్నారు అన్నమాట. సో డూ యూ షుడ్ హ్యావ్ వాల్యూ human relations or money, valuable things? So understand that. And Mrs. Slater puts the kettle and fire and gets tea ready. Henry, one thing we may as well decide now in the announcement in the papers. So he has a suggestion to Mrs. Jordan and Elizabeth, Mrs. Jordan and Henry Slater, Amelia. One thing we may as well decide now is the announcement in the papers. Mrs. Jordan, I was thinking of that. What would you put? So I was thinking of that. What would you put? Mrs. Jordan, well, we will think about it after tea, and then we will look through his bits of things and make a list of them. There is all furniture in his room. ఇక్కడ కూడా టీయే ఫస్ట్ వాళ్ళకి ఇంపార్టెంట్. we will think about it after tea, and then we will look through his bits of things and make list of them. There is all the furniture in his room. Henry says, there is no jewelry or valuables of that sort. There is no jewelry or valuables of that sort. Mrs. Jordan says, expect his gold watch. He promised that to our Jimmy. అంటే మనం అన్నీ డిస్కస్ చేసి ఏవేవైతే ఉన్నాయో అవన్నీ ఒక పేపర్ అనౌన్స్మెంట్ రాద్దాం లిస్ట్. ఒక్క ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ హిస్ గోల్డ్ వాచ్, ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ హిస్ గోల్డ్ వాచ్. He promised that to our Jimmy. He promised that to our Jimmy. Mrs. Slater promised to our Jimmy? I never heard of it that. Mrs. Slater shocked. Why he promised to give your Jimmy? So promised to our Jimmy? I never heard of that. Mrs. Jordan. Oh, but he did, Amelia. When he was living with us, he was very fond of Jimmy. She replies, oh, but he did, Amelia. When he was living with us, he was very fond of Jimmy. ఫాదర్ మా దగ్గర ఉన్నప్పుడు జిమ్మికి ఇస్తానని ప్రామిస్ చేశాడు. వెరీ ఫాండ్ ఆఫ్ మీన్స్ లవ్డ్. మిసెస్ లాటర్, వెల్, అమేజ్డ్, ఐ డోంట్ నో. నెక్స్ట్, వెన్ ఎనీహౌ దెర్ ఈస్ హిస్ ఇన్సూరెన్స్ మనీ, హ్యావ్ యూ గోట్ ద రిసిప్ట్ ఫర్ ద ప్రీమియం హీ పేడ్ దిస్ మార్నింగ్? ఓ, ఉంటుంది. సరే, ఇక మనం ప్రీమియం ఇన్సూరెన్స్ చేసినటువంటి మనీ ఉంటుంది కదా, దాని విషయంలో కూడా మనం మాట్లాడుకోవాలి. సో హ్యావ్ యూ గోట్ ద రిసిప్ట్ ఫర్ ద ప్రీమియం హీ పేడ్ దిస్ మార్నింగ్? ఈరోజు రిసిప్ట్ కట్టే అమౌంట్ ప్రీమియం చేశారు కదా, సో ప్రీమియం చేసినటువంటి ఒక రిసిప్ట్ ఏమన్నా చూసారా అని చెప్పేసి అడగడం జరుగుతుంది. బెన్. మిసెస్ లాటర్, ఐ హ్యావ్ నాట్ సీన్ ఇట్. Mrs. Slater replies, oh, I have not seen it. And then Victoria jumps up from the sofa and comes behind the table. Victoria jumps up from the sofa and comes behind the table. Victoria says to her mother, Mother, I don't think Grandpa went to pay his insurance this morning. Mother, I don't think Grandpa went to pay his insurance this morning. Mrs. Slater says, he went out. Yes. Victoria says, yes, he went out, but he didn't go into the town. అతడు బయటికి వెళ్ళాడు, బట్ కానీ he didn't go to the town. టౌన్లోకి అయితే వెళ్ళలేదు. He met old Mr. Tattersall down the street and they went off past St. Philip's Church. She explained what her grandpa doing this morning. Yes, but he didn't go into the town. He met old Mr. Tattersall down the street and they went off past St. Philip's Church. Ben asked to Victoria, do you think he hasn't paid it? Was it overdue? Overdue means in time. Not to pay it in time. Mrs. Slater, I should think it was overdue. Explain the Mrs. Slater. I should think it was overdue. Mrs. Jordan, something tells me he has not paid it. Mrs. Jordan inquires to asking to her sister, something tells me he is not paid it. Ben, the drunken old beggar. Oh, what's going on? The Ben was scolding his father-in-law. Why? Because he is not paying the premium, ఇన్సూరెన్స్ ప్రీమియం. అంటే ఇక్కడ ప్రీమియం పే చేస్తే ఎవరైనా చనిపోయిన వెంటనే వారికి సంబంధించినటువంటి ఏదైతే మనీ రావాల్సి వస్తుందో అది వస్తుందన్నమాట. సో ఇక్కడ కట్టలేదు ప్రీమియం అనేటువంటి మాట వినగానే ఈ వాజ్ కోల్డింగ్, అంటే అరుస్తున్నాడు, తిడుతున్నాడు. ఈ వాజ్ ఏ డ్రంక్ అండ్ ఓల్డ్ బెగ్గర్. And Mrs. Jordan, he's done it on purpose just to annoy us. Her daughter also, he has done it on purpose just to annoy us. అంటే కావాలనేది ఉద్దేశపూర్వకంగా చేసిండొచ్చు. మిసెస్ లాటర్ సేస్, ఆఫ్టర్ ఆల్ ఐ హ్యావ్ డన్ ఫర్ హిమ్, హ్యావింగ్ టు పుట్ అప్ విత్ హిమ్ ఇన్ ద house these 3 years, it's nothing short of swelling. After all I have done for him, having it put up with him in the house these 3 years, it's nothing short of swelling. And Mrs. Jordan says, I had to put up with him for 5 years, Amelia. Mrs. Latter, and you were trying to turn him over to us all the time. చూడండి, ఇక్కడ నా దగ్గర నేను అదే పనిగా 3 years పెట్టుకొని ఇతన్ని చూసుకుంటున్నాను, ఇలా చేశాడు అని చెప్పేసి మిసెస్ లాటర్ చెప్తుంటే బెన్ జోర్డాన్ చెప్తుంది ఏమని, నువ్వు ఇంకా 3 years పెట్టుకున్నావు, నేను 5 years, అండ్ యువర్ ఐ హ్యాడ్ పుట్ అప్ విత్ హిమ్ ఫర్ 5 years, నేను 5 years చూసుకున్నాను. సో మిసెస్ లాటర్, అండ్ యు ఆర్ ట్రైంగ్ టు టర్న్ హిమ్ over to us all the time. And Henry says, but we don't know for certain that he is not paid the premium. So Henry says that, but we don't know for certain that he is not paid the premium. And Mrs. Slater says, Victoria, run upstairs and fetch that bunch of keys that's on your grandpa's dressing table. So mother instructed to her daughter, Victoria, go upstairs and fetch that bunch of keys that's on your grandpa's dressing table. Go and upstairs and fetch that bunch of keys. Keys ఉంటాయి అక్కడ, తీసుకొని రా అని చెప్పేసి తన యొక్క కూతురికి తను సజెషన్ ఇవ్వబోతుంది. Victoria timidly, in grandpa's room, she asked, Mom, is grandpa's room? Mrs. Latter, yes. Victoria, I don't like to. We go to your grandpa's room and fetch that bunch of keys. Victoria says, Grandpa's room? No, I don't like to. Mother says, Mrs. Latter says, don't talk so silly. There is no one who can hurt you. We will see if he is locked the receipt up in the bureau. So చెప్తుందన్నమాట, don't talk so silly. There is no one who can hurt you. Victoria goes out reluctantly. Reluctantly means unwillingly or unwillingly. We will see if he is locked the receipt up in the bureau. And next, Ben, in this thing, he rises and examines it. Ben asked, in where he put the receipt? He asked her. In this thing, he raised and examined. Mrs. Jordan, also rising, where did you pick that up, Amelia? It's new since last I was here. They examined it closely. ఎక్కడ ఈ బీరువాలోనే పెట్టాడా? ఇట్స్ న్యూ సిన్స్ దట్ లాస్ట్ ఐ వాస్ హియర్. ఏదో కొత్తగా ఉంది, ఎప్పుడు తెచ్చారు అని చెప్పేసి అడుగుతుంది. మిసెస్ లాటర్, ఓ హెన్రీ పికప్ ఇట్ అప్ వన్ డే. దాన్ని హెన్రీ తీసుకున్నాడని చెప్పేసి ఒక ఆన్సర్ని అక్కడ ఇవ్వడం జరుగుతుంది. సో హీ వాజ్ వెరీ కన్నింగ్ ఉమెన్ అండ్ stealing all that father's belonging. So first one is slippers, and second one is the bureau, and third one is handsome alarm clock. So she said to her sister, Henry pick up one day. And that returns Victoria returns very scared. She closes the door after her. She's scared. Victoria shouting, Mother, mother. Mrs. Slater, what is it, child? She inquires. Victoria said, Grandpa's getting up. Ma, Grandpa's getting up. Then what? Ben says, What? Mrs. Slater says, What do you say? Mrs. Slater asks her daughter, What do you say? Victoria says, Grandpa's getting up. Mrs. Jordan says, The child's crazy. The child's crazy. Mrs. Slater says to her daughter, Don't talk so silly. Don't talk don't so silly. Don't you know your grandpa's dead? Don't you know your grandpa's dead? ఏం మాట్లాడుతున్నావు నువ్వు? మీ గ్రాండ్ పాస్ చనిపోయారని నీకు తెలీదా? అంటే విక్టోరియా సేస్, నో నో మామ్, హీస్ గెటింగ్ అప్, ఐ సీ హిమ్. నో నో మామ్, హీస్ గెటింగ్ అప్, ఐ సా హిమ్. They are transfixed with amazement. Victoria clings to Mrs. Slater. So they are all surprised and amazed. What was the Victoria says? And Ben was suddenly, Hush, listen. Listen. They look at the door. A slight chuckling is heard from upstairs. The door opens, revealing an old man clad in faded but grey dressing gown. He is in stock-necked feet, although over 70. He is vigorous and well colored. His bright, malicious ever twinkle under his heavy reddish grey eyebrows. He is obviously either the old man, Abel Merriweather, or else his ghost. Everyone was shocked. The doors opened and revealing an old man was coming to the downstairs. And he was how was he? He was a faded but gay dressing gown. He is in his stockinged feet. Although over 70, he is vigorous and well colored. So heavily reddish grey eyebrows twinkle under his heavy reddish grey eyebrows. He is obviously either the old man, Abel Weather, or else his ghost. Ghost means the spirit of Abel Merriweather. She was all are surprised. They are all surprised. Is it Abel Merriweather or his ghost? So they are afraid of them. So that this the dear departed one ending. So we have some comprehensive questions out there, and we see that glossary meanings. Do you know what is the meaning of glossary? Do you? Day means do you? And be cautious, intelligent, gifted, talented. And bureau, a writing desk with drawers. Drive, a hard bargain. Work hard to negotiate arrangements in one's own favor. Draft, stupid and silly. Pinch, steal. Metal place, a shelf projecting from the wall over the fireplace. Sure, lead or show the way. Welcome. Complacent, self satisfied, unconcerned. Cheaply, cheerfully, and actively. Snug, warm, and comfortable. And next, overdue, not paid by the expected time. Swindling, cheating somebody for pros- property or money. Transfixed, became motionless in fear. Chuckling, laughing quietly out of made announcement of satisfaction. Amusement of satisfaction. And next, clad, wearing a particular type of clothing. Malicious, harmful. So this is the dear departed one, or is the Mrs. Slater and Elizabeth Jordan, or discuss the who is in the upstairs. He is Abel Merriweather or his ghost. So what you have understand this the dear departed one? There is uh, some things, the gold watch and bureau and the clock and slippers and bureau. They are all stealing the Mrs. Amelia Slater. Mrs. Slater asked her daughter Victoria to bring the bunch of his keys from her father's room. Victoria is afraid at first. She goes upstairs and comes down with the news that her grandpa is moving. They do not believe, but Abel Merriweather comes down to there. Now some questions are there. What qualities of Mrs. Slater have you noticed? What qualities of Mrs. Slater have you noticed? Mrs. Slater is a vigorous, plump, vulgar woman. She is selfish, greedy, commanding, and even stoops to steal her own father's thing. So, how was she? She is a vigorous, plump, vulgar woman. She is selfish, greedy, commanding, and even stoops to steal her own father's things. And next, why do you Jordans take a long time to get to the house of the Slaters? What does it show about the two sisters' attitude towards each other? Why do the Jordans take a long time to get to the house of the Slaters? House of the Slaters. What does it show about the two sisters' attitude towards each other? The Jordan take a long time to reach the house of the Slaters because both the sisters are not in good terms. This shows that there is no enmity between the sisters. What is that? The Jordan take a long time to reach the house of the Slatters because both the sisters are not in good time. This shows that there is no enmity between the sisters. And next, why does Mrs. Slatter decide to shift the bureau from her father's room before the arrival of the Jordans? How does Henry react to the suggestion? Why does Mrs. Slatter decide to shift the bureau from her father's room before the arrival of the Jordans? How does Henry react to the suggestion? Mrs. Slatter decided to shift the bureau from her father's room before the arrival of the Jordans because she wants to possess it. If they come, they will climb it. Henry feels very bad. Slatter decides to shift the bureau from her father's room before the arrival of the Jordans become because she wants to possess it. If they come, they would climb it. Henry feels very bad and opposes her idea. And next, Ben appreciates his father-in-law saying it's good thing he did. Later he calls him a drunken old beggar. Why does he change his opinion about his father-in-law? Ben appreciates his father-in-law saying it's a good thing he did. Later he calls him a drunken old beggar. Why does he change his option? Sorry. He opinion about his father-in-law. Ben appreciates his father-in-law because if he pays the premium, he will get a share in it. Why? Because he is pay his the premium, he will get a share in it. But when they doubt the premium payment, Ben calls him a drunken old beggar. Ben appreciates his father-in-law because if he pays the premium, he will get a share in it. But when they doubt the payment, Ben calls him a drunken old beggar. And last one, what made Mr. Henry feel shocked to hear Victoria say, "Are you planning to pinch it?" What made Mr. Henry feel shocked to hear Victoria say, "Are you planning to pinch it?" Mr. Henry is shocked to hear his daughter's words as he doesn't expect those words from her at such a tender age. Mr. Henry is shocked to hear his daughter's words as he doesn't expect those words from her at such tender age. So he was shocked. Some more comprehensive questions are there. Why did Henry wonder if the Jordans would come at all? Option: because he did not invite them. B, because Elizabeth had said that she would not set foot in their house again. C, because they did not like him. Why did Henry wonder if the Jordans would come at all? So, because Elizabeth had said that she would not set foot in their house again. This is the answer. And second, Victoria is a precocious girl. What does precocious mean? Victoria is a precocious girl. What does precocious mean? Options: A. Valuable. B. Funny. C. Intelligent. A. Valuable. B. Funny. C. Intelligent. And next, Amelia thinks the Jordans will not know that the bureau was Abel's because dash. Amelia thinks the Jordans will not know that the bureau was Abel's because options: A. The Jordan haven't come after Abel bought it. B. The Jordans haven't come after Henry bought it. C. The Jordans are unintelligent. Once again, options: the Jordan haven't come after Abel bought it. The Jordans haven't come after Henry bought it. C. The Jordans are intelligent. So, what is the answer? The Jordan haven't come after Abel bought it. And next, Henry says, I suppose it's in the family. What is he referring to here? What is he referring to here? Henry says, I suppose it is in the family. What is he referring to here? Options. He is referring to the pompous nature of the Jordans. B. He is referring to the kindness of the Jordan. C. He is referring to the tough and hard nature of Mrs. Elizabeth. He is referring to the pompous nature of the Jordans. He is referring to the kindness of Jordan. See, he is referring to the tough, hard nature of Mrs. Elizabeth. So, answer is he is referring to the tough, hard nature of Mrs. Elizabeth. And next, what is the other way of saying this? You had better wear these slippers. What is the other way of saying this? You had better wear these slippers. Options: you should wear these slippers. You have worn these slippers. You must wear these slippers. So, answer is you should wear the slippers. And next, my word is good thing he did. My word, it's good thing he did. Who said these words? My word, it's good thing he did. Who said these words? Amelia, and B. Elizabeth, and C. Ben Jordan. So what is the correct answer? Ben Jordan. Mrs. Latter, be quiet. It's ours now. What does it refer to here? Mrs. Latter, be quiet. It's ours now. What does it refer to here? Options: A. Clock. B. Bureau. C. Gold watch. First one, clock. Second, bureau. And C. Gold watch. So, what is the answer? The answer is the clock. Answer is the clock. And next, let us some synonyms of the words. Synonyms of the words. Amazed. What is the synonym of the word amazed, surprised. And draft. Draft means stupid. And shabby. Shabby means dirty. And worn out, torn. And next, guess, speculate. And fasten, shut. Come, arrive. Come, arrive. And vigorous, strong. And foot, step. And quarreled, fought. And wanted, wished. Stretch, expand. And lucky, fortunate. These are the synonyms of this, the dear departed lesson. And next, some antonyms are there. Antonyms: draft means sensible. Delicate means delicate, rough. What is the opposite meaning? Delicate, rough. Merry, sad. Upstairs, downstairs. Upstairs, downstairs. And silly, sensible. And nothing, everything. Swilling, honesty. What are the antonyms of the word? Swilling, honesty. Gay, gloomy. Timidly, courageously. Valuables, opposite, trifles. Honorable, dishonorable. Pay, receive. Mourning, celebrating. Later, farmer. And certain, uncertain. Amazed, shocked. Hurt, soothe. Reluctantly, willingly. So these are the antonyms of the dear departed lesson, some words. So these synonyms and vocabulary antonyms are most important to the examination in the vocabulary part. So we have understood the dear departed one, what is going on, and next class we continue the dear departed one is the dear departed two. What happened the next? I hope you are all understood very well and learn some vocabulary part and read the next dear departed lesson. Okay, thank you.